Welcome to the Comix Zone. Welcome to the Comix Zone.
What's going on, nerds?
Hi, I'm Aaron.
This is Mike,
This is Bill.
and this is the Comix Zone. We got Aaron in the house. Again, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, not much. Just enjoying my day. It's been a good day. My day off, and now I get to come talk some nerd shop, which is always fun.
Hell yeah.
Woo. You're going to be the first installment of our trivia
Awesome.
and your Spider-Man trivia today here in a little bit, which is why I got the jacket
You
here.
just did Spider-Man? I thought it would be like random trivia. But
I just went with one theme just to kind of kick it off, and so we
I
can have
gotcha.
a solid area. As a Spider-Man fan, some of these were, I should know that, but I didn't, and a lot of them were obvious, and some were pretty intense. So I got them all
excited.
ranges.
Yeah.
So when we're doing this, we can be like pass if you don't know one right then, because we're going to be timed on these questions, right?
Yeah, so it's 2 minutes.
Okay.
We'll do
2
it.
minutes.
2 minutes is the length, the max length to ask, and I've got 14 questions.
Okay.
Oh,
and then
okay, you got a bunch. I got you.
so we'll go through those all, and then it'll be whoever scores the most points.
But we can
wins.
skip and then like keep answering, and then when we come around to the end, you can maybe like, if we still have time, ask that question again.
You should have a little time, but
You know what I mean?
Kind of like the Dumber Than the Show trivia.
kind of. And the most important rule, which is why I say maybe to your question, is the game master makes all the rules. What I say goes. If I'm wrong, I'm right. Because I'm trying to keep these in the short 2 minutes in that kind of time frame to keep things going. So most likely I'll be lenient, and you can challenge the answers after the 2 minutes.
Okay.
Is a fair rule. So
Challenge the answers.
so if you disagree with what I have as the answer,
You fact check though. So I mean, we can disagree all we want, but you know what
but
the
again,
answers are.
I make all the rules. As
you're-
today, I'm the game master.
So you're saying you might give us a fake answer?
No, I've done the best I could to make sure that these were truthful and correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I mean. It's like I trust that you fact check, so I don't think I'm going to argue what the answer is, though.
Yeah, I did my research, but there are some things where they're worded where you could.
I mean, it could also fall under the Mandela effect too. We remember one thing, and it's totally
Dude,
different
we were just
now.
talking about that.
Berenstein, Berenstein.
Exactly.
We were just talking about that before you got here, actually. Because we did an
Steins Gate.
episode on Dragon These Balls. Recently started Steins Gate. We did the first 4 episodes, I think. Covered that. And I got to say, it's really interesting. It has to do a lot with that kind of thing, Mandela effect and splitting timelines, and it's interesting. And there's a lot of real world things that they talk about, like the CERN particle collider, and they're making they're microscopic black holes and shit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So, and then they're talking about, that, I don't know. It's a crazy show. So you should go check that episode out if you haven't. It will be up probably, the same week as this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that whole God particle thing is what I think created the whole Mandela effect when they launched that the first time back in the early 90s?
The God particle.
Well, that's what they call it when they smash the atoms together and they create that antimatter. I can't remember the actual name of it, but the slang word was the God particle. I mean, they mentioned that in
Well, I've
Angels
heard
and
that
Demons.
before, but I guess I never knew exactly what it was. That's
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's so in the CERN collider when they send the one atom going the other way, and when it actually smashes together, they had I don't know if they actually used that as the term, but I got it from a book,
I think
Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons, because they were discussing it.
I think
then.
different particles, when they collide, do different things too, though.
That is true. That is a possibility.
I mean, so you got to, when you're talking about particle, I think that's just like a blanket term, but they're probably using all kinds of different particles from different, you know what I mean? Different materials and I like gases too, maybe. Like so. You think?
That's
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about like nuclear fission, there's only certain things that they use or whatever. So I'm sure it
Well,
depends on
this
what the
isn't
reaction
this
is.
isn't
and-
that though. They're just colliding particles to understand physics in a deeper way to see what happens there. But it's like fucking with the fabric of reality like that. What if that creates branches in timeline when you do shit like that? You know what I mean? And that's where people having different memories than other people comes into play. It's like some people retain their memories, but this is actually an alternate timeline.
it plays into the multiverse so well because
Well,
you have to say that we
what
don't exist in one.
Yeah, that's what the multiverse is, though. And when they say infinity, yeah, of course, yes, the universe is huge, but we don't know if it is infinitely like space never ends. But when you're talking about a multiverse and infinity, you're talking about branching timelines, alternate and all of that. And then infinity becomes like an actual thing because anything that has happened or could happen will happen or has happened or will happen again.
And the human mind really can't comprehend
that's
the
just the
trueness of infinity because
Right, you're thinking about like here on Earth, but you're not actually thinking about the possibilities happening on other planets and the universe at large in general. So every time you create a new timeline, you're creating essentially a whole new universe, and that is infinity. Is infinite like universes in that way, along with
one
scale.
theory of infinity.
Like scale has something to do with it too. That adds to it for sure. Because if it was just our solar system, and then you're talking about it, still you could still have infinity in that small of a space, as long as there were multiple versions of it.
I'm kind of curious to know what the edge of space would look like.
Well, that's why
Crack.
well, they always show it as like a bubble or whatever, but I doubt there's any kind of who knows? Like who fucking knows, man?
Well, it's no different than
But
back.
it's like there's only so much matter in the universe, so eventually you would stop seeing if it does continue like space, but you just might not see stars or anything after a while. But
You can only guess,
but also the universe is expanding all the time, so everything is moving away from us. So eventually, people, I don't know, it's like billions of years. But if somebody was living on Earth, eventually, they would look up at the sky and see nothing when it's night. Eventually you'll see zero or very few stars, only the closest ones, and then. People then, if they'd have no prior knowledge of being able to see stars in the sky, they would really assume there is nothing.
That does make sense.
universe keeps expanding until the galaxy become like cell structures and then smaller organisms into another alien world, and then that keeps going bigger and bigger into other universes of their things, and an infinite that way. It can still expand that way direction, not even with multiple universes.
That amount of distance would seem infinite to you as a person, as a human.
Anyone. We can't
not
comprehend.
just
There's
you.
only theories of
Right. Just that distance, just to get from here to Pluto. You know what I mean? That's so fucking far. It takes 70 fucking years or some shit.
Yeah. Well, it's like what 6 years to get to Mars.
No, it's 6 months or 9 months.
Oh, is it? I thought it was in the years mark to get to Mars.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't take.
It depends
that
if you're taking an Uber or the shuttle express.
Still,
well, I mean, I'm kind of poor, so I'm gonna have to
walking,
hitchhike,
dog paddle.
Still, that's a long trip. I mean, but people did shit like that and boats on the ocean way back in it'd be essentially the same. Yeah. Different circumstances and whatever, but it's still being stuck on a ship and Like if it goes down, you're fucked. Like everybody's fucked.
So do you think we're gonna have like human, like commercial flights into space within our lifetime, where it's common,
You mean to other planets?
or just to space? Period. To the moon.
I want to say, yeah. With everything that these other private companies have been doing to launch their own spacecraft into the outer atmosphere, I believe that. I mean, we might be frail and old by the time it happens, but I think we'll see it.
I think.
How many years do you think?
I think
Probably another 30 to 40 years before it becomes common enough for somebody like me and you to buy a ticket to go up there and check it out.
I think it'd be more likely that you would have much lower. Like, so you're still like, so even like the Jeff Bezos thing, you know how he went to space or whatever. He really didn't though, because he was still within the atmosphere. It's like you don't really get out into space until much higher. But I could see like commercial flights using that and like much faster planes that would be able to fly at that high altitude with less friction or whatever, so they could be faster, and then have really fast like plane rides that way. And that would be like the start of it. And then maybe they do build something on the moon and you can go check it out. But they're gonna build. If they build anything on the moon first, it's going to be some kind of research facility. It's not going to be like, a shopping
military
mall.
outpost.
It's not going to be like a mall.
First thing would be a military,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
and that we wouldn't know about. Maybe there's already one there.
I was just going to
I
say
heard
that.
Captain America's there.
And the dude from not the boys, Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, I was just going to say the big guy, the number one.
Number one, collecting rocks,
Yep.
doing rocks for no purpose whatsoever.
I mean, growing up in the 80s, I expected to have a total recall situation on Mars by now to where we could go visit and live and work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, where are our flying cars?
That's going to be a long way out, man. I don't think-
Self-driving cars are not too far away.
That's still kind of scary. I've seen those movies.
I don't think us even traveling back and forth like regularly in like a commercial way, so like you're going to other planets and like mining them and shit and like getting resources that, you know, I think that will be the beginning.
The push.
That would be the push, right, is to just get out there and be able to go to other planets and or asteroids, or you know what I mean, and be able to mine those are like mostly iron and shit, you know, and different, all kinds of different shit.
But then we have to figure out how to go faster than just what we do now to be able to make the trip worthwhile without having to go into a cryostasis.
Well, right, that you have to have technology and better an easier way to get into space other than like spending a bunch of fuel on like rockets, and then also like what Elon Musk is doing, trying to create reusable rockets that can take off and land. Have you seen those videos?
I've seen some.
That shit looks fucking.
I don't know if the ones that he's been working on, but I've seen the concept before and heard about it. Planes and also.
Well, it
rockets.
was a couple years ago. They did it live on the interwebs, and you know, they launched some rockets and then had them land again.
That's kind of
And
cool.
it looked fucking crazy, man. Like it was like in a movie or some shit. You're like, what? Like, so I mean, we're slowly getting there, but it's like, to make all that plausible, you need a better source of energy,
or
and then-
efficient way.
and then to travel around your solar system at will, you would need to have something like a Dyson sphere. That's when you start to create something like a Dyson sphere, so you have literally unlimited, or what would seem to be unlimited energy to you, because like you're absorbing almost 100% of the energy coming off of your sun.
Well, and I think if, you know, the Challenger and Discovery, you know, if we wouldn't have lost them, I think we'd have been a lot further in our space exploration than what we are. Because shortly after Challenger exploded, they shut NASA down and we quit going to the moon, quit doing a lot of things.
So did you
was
see
when
that
they-
live?
I did.
I did too.
It was actually when they quit. NASA quit sending shit after they retired those shuttles. You know, the two that looked like airplanes, and then it would open up on the top, and
Yeah.
you know, they retired those shuttles because they were so old that they had to. And then, so for a while, the U.S. was relying on like Russia and like China and like jumping on with them when they went to space instead of doing like our own missions. And that's where, like, again, Elon Musk and that comes in, because now we have people in America doing it again. And like we have our own rockets and shit like that.
But I still think we'd have been a lot further in it if they would have addressed those safety concerns then instead of scrapping all the projects.
Yeah. Politics got away from the science.
Wasn't it like a heat shield?
I think
Like
the
they were-
Discovery was the heat shield, and then the Challenger, there was an O2 ring on one of the booster rockets that failed right after takeoff.
Yeah, that was pretty shitty. It was, a lot of people died in that.
7, if I remember right.
And a teacher.
The teacher. And I remember them just talking about the teacher, like she like won some
She won a contest.
Yeah.
And then she was like, we had like school like things around her before. So everyone was making a really big deal about it.
Well, and I remember we were sitting in class and they had it on the TV for us to watch
On
live.
those carts that are, you know,
Oh, yeah, the
strapped
LDV
to
cards.
the TVs. I mean, I see that, and that's one of the things that I remember is the, you know, the Challenger
Oh, yeah.
explosion.
Crazy, man. Yeah, that's hardcore.
One of the news
What year was that?
news events that shaped how I perceive the world and how our generation
I want to say it was
perceives it.
85 or 86, but I don't remember for sure.
That's not one of my trivia questions. No.
I was like, that. It was long. All I know is I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
Hold up, I'm gonna look it up.
I think there was an assembly after it happened where everyone then went into the gym where then the principal and I was able to address it all, and then
Yeah, explain to us what happened.
1986. So I was 2 years old, so I don't remember it. I've seen the footage, of course, like a bunch of times, but
I was 6.
yeah. Dude. You know, I mean, that's the price of progress, though, unfortunately, is like, you know, sometimes shit's not going to go right, and that's how you make better ships and shit, too. It's like when they built the first airplane, that thing was unsafe as fuck, I'm sure.
Oh, and the first boat.
You know what I mean? Yeah, fuck. But
the Titanic,
that,
the unsinkable ship.
And it's sitting at the bottom of the Atlantic.
yeah. What's kind of hard is like the whole, it's like, should we be spending money to pursue space travel? And I think in the long term, when you think about like the progress of humanity in general, like, yeah, we should be always trying to progress and like work on getting off of the planet so we can go elsewhere, and like, and maybe once we are able to leave the planet and are able to go other places and get more resources, maybe then, you know, at that time we got it figured out also on how to live together better and not be so shitty to each other, you know,
That's
and have a global civilization instead of like different pockets.
Sadly, I'd almost think that would take another alien force that was a conflict
Yeah.
for that to happen.
Well, I mean, and there's a lot of people that think that you would almost need some existential threat
I fully believe that.
before we would unite. But also look at what happened with COVID. Everybody turned on each other. So, and that wasn't even that serious.
After a
It's
while,
like if some aliens showed up, people would just be like, kill them.
Well,
we wouldn't be like, oh, let's go get
I
the
fully
aliens.
believe that we'd band together as a human species.
We would die so fast. To band together, I mean, they wouldn't even have to land here. Like, think about it. If you were going to invade a planet, and you know these people don't have the means to eat, like you're floating up here, just like around the moon or whatever, and you can fly literally across the universe. Like, so you have the ability to move from star to star, and some people with like some nukes.
So they're not
and
going
airplanes
to
and
walk
shit.
down and try to do
No,
fist fights.
you would send some virus that's not like it can't hurt you. You would design it to fucking not so you would release it in the atmosphere, kill every fucking buddy. If you really had to do that, like you would. I mean, but why? Again, why would they need to come here?
A resource that we have that they
Yeah,
don't.
they could. Yeah, that would be the
Krispy
thing.
Kreme donuts.
They'd come. Yeah, that'd be tough.
I'd fly across the galaxy for a Krispy Kreme donut. Those things are delicious.
I need at least a dozen.
Yeah.
Probably a couple.
Yeah, I got to at least make the trip back.
Yep. Because the sugar crash hits you hard.
Oh, yeah.
Real hard.
They are good donuts too, especially when they're warm. Like, so you go there when the sign's on or whatever.
Fresh right off the
Rack. Oh, yeah.
They hand them to you right off the
Oh, yeah.
out of the
The
glaze.
glaze is still
syrup.
dripping.
Yeah.
Dude, they are good.
Yeah, I gotta enjoy that when I went to the Denver Comic-Con back in right before COVID, in fact.
Yeah.
That shit's terrible for you, by the way. But what the fuck, they're delicious. Like
Most things
then
that are
there's the
delicious
voodoo-
are bad for us.
The voodoo donuts too.
Those are good.
is it just as good?
They're different.
It's not the
So,
same thing.
they're I would classify them. They're more like the bougie donuts, and they've got the maple bacon, or they've got like a lot of crazy flavors. I was kind of a little bit overwhelmed with all the different options, versus just the simple glaze like
Yeah,
the
just
Krispy
give me a
Kreme.
fucking donut, man. Chocolate donut, thanks. I don't need
the classic
fucking
glaze.
maple and bacon.
Dude, it's
That's
pretty
just-
good though.
Yeah,
That's
those
probably-
maple
that's-
bacon donuts are
It
really
probably
good.
is fucking good.
So as far as
over here
in
talking
Casper, the maple bacon from Sherry's is pretty legit.
I've heard that. I have not tried hers yet.
And it's only like Tuesdays, I think, or Thursdays. There's only one day of the week that they have them.
Okay, see, I didn't know that.
I'm ready to stomp some ass and some
And then-
trivia.
And then
Are you ready?
the best donuts are from the Amish place near Buffalo. They make homemade donuts every Saturday, and they are
Oh yeah, the
fucking amazing.
Amish people probably make amazing. Like they're
So an afternoon Amish.
they can
donut
build a
run.
barn in like 3 hours. So I bet they can make some badass donuts too.
Yeah, pretty baller donuts.
I'm gonna have to go try those.
So trivia time.
Okay.
All right.
Do I need to cover my ears
Not yet.
first. What was
So
that?
we have sound effects. And because I didn't know which button to push. No. So, and then I change it over. So I'm the gamekeeper, just to keep things going. I'll say if they're correct or not. You'll take the first hot seat.
Okay.
We've got 2 minutes to try to go through as many of the questions, and then we kind of count up the points
Okay.
as we go.
And I'll listen to music on my other headphones while you answer,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't hear anything.
And like I said,
And these headphones are like noise canceling, so I can't hear shit. And yeah, no, I won't be cheating. Not that I need to. I'm gonna fucking
you're gonna.
I'm gonna win.
I was gonna say I'm probably gonna bomb this because my brain's gonna shut down as soon as the question's asked.
All right. Okay, Mike. Time for your isolation booth.
Okay.
Bye bye.
And then I'll mute his mic too, just because. All right. Here we go. Comix Zone Trivia, round 1. Oh, well, I already started going. All right, now we have to...
Okay, go.
All right. Comix Zone Trivia, take 2. We're doing Spider-Man. In the comics, which high school did Peter Parker attend?
Midland High.
Midtown.
Yeah.
So close. Who was Peter's first girlfriend?
Gwen Stacy.
That is correct. Who is the alter ego of Green Goblin?
Which Green Goblin? The original?
The original.
Norman Osborn.
That is correct. Who is the scientist that turned himself into a lizard?
That would be Dr. Kurt Connors.
Correct again. What newspaper does Peter Parker work for?
The Daily Bugle.
I would be disappointed if you got that one wrong. Who created Spider-Man? Which 2 people?
Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Steve Ditko.
Oh, that's right.
So close. Which secret organization hired Spider-Man to be a spy?
Shield.
That is correct. Who killed Uncle Ben?
I want to say it was Sandman.
He was an unnamed, just known as the burglar or the criminal.
Okay.
Tricky question. Who became Spider-Man after the apparent death of Peter Parker?
That would have been the clone. Ben Reilly.
I have Miles Morales as the answer there. It's tricky. In the 90s comics, which organization hired Spider-Man to hunt down the Sinister Six?
Oh crap! That they had Silver Sable was the leader, and I'm gonna pass because I can't remember the name of it.
All right. What year did Spider-Man make his first appearance? I will also settle for the name and issue of the comic. Ooh, this is your last question.
1963.
And the comic?
Amazing Spider-Man number 262, I believe.
The first appearance of Spider-Man.
Oh, that I do not know the issue.
So was incorrect. All right, so now I have to actually remember what you did and tally up here what you got. So now Mike can take himself out of the isolation booth.
Okay.
And how do you think he did? Well, I kind of tally this up.
Me?
Yeah.
How would I know? I just was listening.
I'm just guessing.
I think I did okay. Those were some good
I
questions.
was listening to a little ditty.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not P. Diddy, though.
No.
Like an actual.
There was a couple of them that the way you worded it made me go to the MCU, not the comics.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
But those are some really good questions.
All right. So, you ready, Mike?
Yes.
Here we go. In the comics, which high school did Peter attend?
Oh, fuck. I don't know.
Who was Peter Parker's first girlfriend? This is all
Is it
from the
Gwen
comics.
Stacy?
That is correct. Who is the alter ego of the Green Goblin? Original.
Harry Osborn.
Norman.
Or Norman. Fuck.
Who is the scientist who turned himself into a lizard?
I can't remember. Fuck, dude. Okay, I'm gonna lose probably.
Pass. Which newspaper did Peter Parker work for?
The Daily Bugle.
That is correct. Who created Spider-Man? Which two men are credited to creating Spider-Man?
Steve Ditko and that Excelsior.
Yeah, what's his name?
Stan Lee.
There we go. Which secret organization hired Spider-Man to be a spy? Secret organization, name one.
Shield.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Who killed Uncle Ben?
Oh, John Crisp. Or what?
It was never named. It was the burglar or the criminal.
I'm thinking Batman. I was thinking of Batman.
I don't know. Who became Spider-Man after the apparent death of Peter Parker?
Ben Reilly.
Miles Morales.
Oh.
We went the same way on that.
And that's kind of the trick of that. In the 90s comic, which organization hired Spider-Man to hunt down the Sinister Six? This is, I thought, the toughest one on the square.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, what was the first year or first appearance of Spider-Man? That's your last question.
1964.
What was the comic?
Amazing Fantasy.
Number
1.
Oh, 15. That was
15?
close. So, Aaron, congratulations.
Fuck.
You are the winner.
I went easy on him.
It was close. He had a few more questions, but
those were good
you
questions.
are the first.
It's like stuff you should know.
And that one with the Sinister Six one, I have to say, was the hardest one.
The Gatherers.
Like, like I would never known that.
No, that was the deepest. I had to look out for the hardest question, and that was the one. It's like, if anybody gets this, I would be surprised.
Yeah, I will too, because I was thinking it was that task force that Sable was part of.
What was the?
And
It was kind of like an anti-Sinister Six kind of thing, right?
well, they were more like a anti-military group that ran around New York trying to help catch the baddies. They were privately funded, and whoever had the most money could purchase their.
Well, fucking congratulations.
Thank you.
We've got some prizes as you were the first one on.
Yay!
What size T-shirt do you wear?
A large.
All right, I don't have the T-shirts now, but I'm gonna get you one.
Awesome.
But as
I'm salty.
You were our guinea pig. I'm hooking you up with Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Blackest Night,
Ooh.
and the newest Tinian. You're gonna have to let me know how this one is.
Oh, I will.
Blue Book. So it's about UFOs, as you can see from there.
Dude, I want
love
that.
UFOs.
No, give that one to me. I'm just. Thank you. How many did I get right?
You had like 5, and if
I had
counted
5.
right, I gave you partial credit on a couple. Like I said, I make up all the rules, including counting. So those who are watching and counting along as they went through that, I make up the rules as it goes. But he obviously got more of them right than the other. As far as he is closer as far as the high school. You said
I said Middleton.
Middleton and Midtown. And he got Norman Osborn right. And got Shield without help.
I didn't get help either. You just said pick an organization.
I said name a secret organization, because that's the tipping point for that question. It's like,
well, how secret is Shield though?
I don't know exactly. They have their logo and
Not a
everything,
fucking
embroidered shirts.
Strategic Homeland Intervention and Logistics Division.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
I'm sure
okay,
they're doing secret shit, but they drive around a fucking ship
with the logo right on
that
it.
thing is that ship is like a whole city.
Yeah. Oh, this is one of my questions that I didn't get to ask. Which U.S. president said Spider-Man was his favorite superhero?
Ooh.
Obama.
Jimmy Carter?
Obama.
Nice.
Yeah. The other one, this deep question, I thought this is kind of interesting, debatable, is how strong Spider-Man's webs are. Webs are, whatever. Could it hold the Hulk? And according to the comic,
for a time.
it could for about an hour. After that, they would dissolve. So it could temporarily.
Well, I bet he could. I bet he could get strong enough if he got enraged enough. He could tear out of there.
Break whatever the web was on, then just be running around with the
Well,
web.
okay, let's just assume he just wraps him up in it like a cocoon.
Yeah.
And like,
I
bet he could rage out enough to like it would hold him for a couple minutes maybe, but I bet he could break out of that.
I think I confirmed that one on the Marvel fandom.
I want to say that they actually touched on that in the animated series back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, because that answer works for anybody. Is like, yeah, it could hold them. That works for a normal person too, though.
Yeah.
It's like it works until it dissolves.
And then they're free again.
That's a shitty answer.
But that's why he usually hangs the bad guys right above the precinct.
Oh, all right. So a video game crossover question: which skateboarding game, when you completed to 100%, unlocked Spider-Man?
I want to say it was either Tony Hawk or Skate.
Which Tony Hawk?
2.
I was going to say, I think
correct.
Yeah,
I think one of my all-time favorite games.
that was a great game. That was
whole
PS2,
series.
wasn't it?
They just remastered them not too long ago.
I downloaded him and played him. It was fun for a while, but it's like you beat it and unlock the whole thing in just kind of like a couple afternoons, and then it's like, okay, do I just beat it to 100% and try to get leaderboards, or it's like, kind of was like, all right.
It was a great. All the Tony Hawks were a great game when they came out, and I know I spent hours playing them. They were amazing.
Underground was probably one of my favorites.
I played that one.
And the one that had like the progressive story when you unlock the features. I think or American Wasteland.
See, I don't think I played past like Tony Hawk 2 or 3 or whatever. You know what I mean?
I even bought the ride, the one that came with the controller skateboard.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
So I think I still have it in a box somewhere, but it was like insanely difficult, and I'm insanely discoordinated. So
Well, that controller's just gimmicky bullshit.
it is exactly, and they spend all their money on R&D, and I think that kind of tanked the whole project.
Yeah.
It's from looking from outside, but
Yeah, it's like those little weightlifting things that the Wii had for the workout one.
yeah.
It was all-
And the Wii became about creating accessories more than it did about creating a game.
The Wii had some pretty great games on
At
it.
the start,
Like, I
yeah, it
don't
was
know.
solid.
It's like the Wii U is the one that people didn't really like all that much just because it was, I don't know. I liked it, but I mean, it was essentially, them trying to make the Switch, or like they were gradually getting there. And like the Switch is amazing as long as you use something other than their shitty Joy-Cons.
I think the problem with the Wii U was like the framing of when things came out and like the games that were available for it.
Yeah.
It didn't have too many truly original games for it. It had kind of just some rehashes, and then especially
A lot of
afterwards.
stuff that ported over from like
So unless from the Wii,
Yeah.
so it was kind of, and then what was after that? Was that the Switch? Was right?
Switch.
Yeah.
That wasn't too far after, really.
And I play my Switch quite a bit. I mean, that's a really great system, and I think they're going to continue to. If they stick to any one system, I think that'll be the one, and they'll just continue to make that better.
That's what my
Or
kids tell me. They have a
hopefully.
Switch at their mom's house, and
But that's just Nintendo,
We don't have one. We get the Xbox,
which
but
surprises me. You got
did you see what's on Xbox Game Pass currently?
Turtles.
GoldenEye.
Oh,
Did they change the so you aim like a normal shooter? Did they change that, or do you still have to control?
You can have auto aim put on, or you can take it off to where it was like back when you were playing it on the 64.
Well,
the
yeah,
graphics
because
were-
remember
See, I
you
never
had to
played that one.
Remember you had to control the camera, and you had to control the the crosshair with a different joystick. You had to you had to move the crosshairs around the screen.
Well, like I said, you can turn on the auto aim, which then will automatically control the crosshairs, or you can turn it off and run it like you got your crosshairs going one
Well,
way.
these days, your crosshairs stay in the middle of the screen, and you turn and fire that way.
yeah,
it
they
was a
definitely
little-
improved first-person shooter games.
Oh yeah, but that was like one of the first ones on console. Well, one of the most really popular ones, because you had Turok, and you had Perfect Dark, and you had Unreal Tournament, and all that kind of shit. Unreal Tournament, that was a cool game.
I played a lot of Perfect Dark.
see, I kind of fell off the video
Perfect
games
Dark.
after the Super NES, and then didn't pick up until GameCube.
Perfect Dark was like
So-
a
That's a
better
That's a
version.
gap.
Yeah, they kind of, because it was music.
yeah.
It was or then partying, and then when partying became needed,
Yeah.
that's when the
Perfect Dark was like a better version, like a more polished version. It was GoldenEye,
Yeah.
but with some cooler guns, and it was the same operating system, like the same, game engine.
Yeah.
But Perfect Dark was a couple years later, and they just perfected all of it in that game. And I don't know, it doesn't get the same credit that GoldenEye does, but it's actually a better game. Oh, I mean, because
because I think it was
came
because
out
it was
much later.
because James Bond, just by the name recognition of being 007.
Yeah, and then it has like the best pause music like ever.
Yeah, that pause screen music is
It's like the fucking dopest beat, and they didn't have to go that hard on it, dude. That's the thing. They didn't have to.
I've seen that
They
reel
didn't
too.
have to go that hard, but they sure did.
They sure did.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna have to find it now.
yeah, you should
Is that
play.
on GoldenEye pause music?
Yep.
Yeah.
GoldenEye. And dude, this shit is iconic, and they didn't have to go this hard, like for real. Somebody could rap over this and it'd be the shit.
Oh yeah, you could
10
almost
minutes.
do anything.
There you go. See, that shit's dope.
Brings back memories.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to get
We need
flagged.
to. No, we're not.
We're going to get flagged.
By who?
By the YouTube police.
It'll be some Jeff Bezos that gets us.
Ah.
Sound like we were
They-
all in a bathroom together just now. Like,
It's like back in college again. Pass it over here.
That way, man.
The RN, I just gave the RN the new game, the Super Nintendo game. He's going to be doing this for hours now.
We're safe.
Yeah.
so I heard some interesting, or saw something interesting today, and it was that somebody, well, I think it's like been announced or whatever, that Hugh Jackman will be playing multiple roles in the new Deadpool.
Yeah, I saw something on that, I think, yesterday on
So I'm
my
thinking
feed.
like variant versions of Wolverine.
Or, yeah, because it wouldn't really be different ages.
It can be.
I mean,
It
but
can
why
be.
would he call that a different? It seems like a little bit of a stretch to call it that, unless that's the reporter trying to get the headline.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Either way, that means multiple versions of him. I don't see what else it would be.
Unless he's going to play different personas from the different teams that he was on.
Maybe. I would imagine they're going to stick to the multiverse thing and the variants, the variant thing.
Well, we've never really looked into the Wolverine in the multiverse before, so that's going to be interesting.
They did the
you've seen him in
lives
the-
and deaths of Wolverine comic series. Did you read that
Yes,
one?
I did. I thought that one was really good.
Yeah. So
In the Age of Apocalypse, Wolverine is, you have alternate Wolverines
Well,
all over
yeah.
in the comics for sure. Old Man Logan was an alternate version that's now in the main.
Well,
crusty old like mean Wolverine versus
Wasn't-
babysitter Wolverine.
wasn't Old Man Logan set in X-Men 2099? Or was that a different one? Because I remember
Old
him
Man
missing.
Logan?
I remember that
No,
Wolverine
that's
missing
different.
a hand.
That's different. Okay, so 2099, that's in the future, obviously. So it's not Wolverine. Like, he's not actually in 2099, if I remember right. And, but in Age of Apocalypse, that was an alternate timeline where Xavier died, and then Magneto started the X-Men instead. And at the same time, Apocalypse took over the United States and is working on taking over the whole planet. The Wolverine in that, he's not actually Wolverine in that timeline. He is just Weapon X and someone else's Wolverine. It's a
Okay.
completely different dude, and they call him Wolverine, but Cyclops ends up being part of the bad guys. Him and Logan fight at one point early on. They don't really I can't remember if they show the fight or not. They might at some point, but essentially Cyclops blasted Wolverine's hand clean off with his optic blast,
Okay.
and Wolverine took one of Cyclops' eyes.
Yeah, because I remember having an action figure of that Wolverine. It was the one hand had his claws, and the other hand had a little nub, and you could put a little knife in there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. In the comic, he just had this cap over his nub.
Yeah.
He didn't put knives or anything. But the action figure, I had it too. And you could stick different weapons into it and shit. They always got to have the accessories and whatnot.
Yeah, it needs the accessories. Otherwise, what kind of toy is it?
yeah, and see, and I didn't read a whole lot of the X-Men 2099. I did read the Spider-Man 2099. I did like that one. I liked his outfit that he had.
It was a great Spider-Man. It was different because he was kind of an ass at
Yeah,
the
he's
beginning.
a different.
Yeah.
He's not Peter Parker.
No,
but-
Miguel Herrera Miguel
Oh, I can't. But yeah,
O'Hare.
Wasn't he
I
a
think so, yeah.
scientist that gave himself the powers?
It's been a little while since I've read it, but
wanna
that sounds
that
sounds.
sounds close. Yeah, yeah. Check the encyclopedia. It should be in there.
Hold up, yeah. Wait to the next episode. We'll talk about it there. No, I'm just kidding.
Talk about what?
I was a really bad, like, was it?
Oh, are you
Dr.
trying to
Dre?
rap, dude? Don't do
Is
that.
it Hold Up?
Stop.
Or is that? That's
Just stop
Warren
it.
G.
That's enough.
Something from the
that's
Puff
Nate
Puff
Dogg,
Pass
bro.
tour.
The puff puff.
It's Nate Dogg,
There you go. There you go. Yes.
bro. Don't ever disrespect hip hop again.
That wasn't a disrespect. It was
was.
a lame attempt at trying to
Exactly.
to pull some street cred.
Disrespect. Okay, Spider-Man, 2099.
I think it's O'Hare because it reminds me of the Chicago airport.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering how he got his powers because I know it's not like he got bit by a radioactive spider.
Yeah, I think he was one of the few that didn't get bit by a spider.
What kind of annoys me about Miles is they went that route again.
Well, because he was originally a different multiverse, right?
Well, yeah, he is, but
Yeah.
that's how he got his powers the same fucking way.
Yeah.
He got bit by a radioactive spider. Where the fuck is Spider-Man?
Swinging webs to
Okay.
New York.
There we go. I mean, dude, actually, Spider-Man, like most people get like a little brief overview in here.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man gets 1, 2,
I think he gets
3,
6
4.
pages.
He's
5.
the most popular superhero across the world.
Well, that's because so many people can relate with him.
Exactly.
You know, he was a nerdy
Yeah,
outcast. that
Miguel
got bullied.
O'Hara, head of genetics at
O'Hare.
Oh, okay.
O'Hara.
So almost Chicago.
Chicago.
Nuevo York is an interesting twist too that they had on there because it's not New York, Nuevo York,
Yeah.
and then it's like, and then I think was it like New York was kind of below,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like below
it
the
just-
sewers.
All it says is that he gained his Spider-Man powers in an episode of Industrial Intrigue.
He
Interesting.
stole it. He stole a superpower like
Like a thief in the night.
I don't remember it, but
I remember his suit was just, had the little web cape and was really cool.
it was a very cool cover,
I mean,
cool costume. Period. Yeah.
I think out of all the 2099 books that they put out, I have to say that was my favorite, and it was well designed. Definitely better than Punisher 2099 because
Did you read Doom 2099? I've heard good things about that one.
I have not. I saw a couple of issues at Norse when they had their back issues out that I thought about getting.
I've ran across. I think I have the first 3, maybe 4. I don't think I've ever read them. Just went back in the deep vault. I picked up some new Spider-Man. I'm trying to fill in all of the black suit Spider-Man comics.
Oh, nice.
The 300 is going to be elusive because do not have that kind of coin for a comic.
Oh, yeah.
At least
You'd have to-
$500.
Yeah, you got to sell a kidney or two to get that.
Check it out, dude. They even got Obadiah Stane in here, and then he's got his
Does he got the Warmonger suit on?
Ironmonger suit.
Yeah.
So that shit's straight out of the comics. So anybody says that that's stupid, you're stupid because it's actually in there. I've actually seen shit where they were like, he's the bad guy, like where people bitch about that.
Well, and
And who bitches about the original Iron Man movie? Shame on you.
the only thing I didn't like was about that movie was the way he announced that he was Iron Man.
Oh, at the end.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
Because
It was never.
for years he said that the Iron Man was his bodyguard, that he had nothing to do with the suit of armor. It was just a suit of armor that was a bodyguard, and Tony was just Tony. And for him to come out and do that in the MCU, it kind of upset me a little, but I liked the way it progressed the whole storyline for the MCU. It kind of grew on me. But that was one of the few little nitpicking things that I noticed from that I was like, that's not comic accurate there.
Well, none of this shit is, Liam. We've said this before. The MCU is its own, essentially its own thing.
Its own
Like,
universe within itself.
I mean,
Which I love where they've gone with a lot of it.
just look at Spider-Man in the MCU. His story's nothing like in the comics. It's more. It's. I like it just because you have the excuse of multiverse now. And before, when you're like, they changed shit, that would be frustrating because you knew, like, especially back then, because we got so few superhero movies that you would be annoyed when they would change things because you're like, oh, like you don't get it. Like we weren't getting a new superhero movie every couple months. So, and then also you didn't have like a multiverse or even like an overarching universe where everything's tied together.
That's huge.
It is huge because back when we were watching this shit, like X-Men came out, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four.
You might have a crossover.
And you're like, oh, this is all really cool. But I always was like, man, it'd be cool if these all existed in the same space.
Yeah. Well, and so like with the reboots that they've done, like when they took Andrew Garfield and did his Spider-Man, I thought they did a great job with that, especially with the fact that Gwen Stacy was his girlfriend in that one. Mm-hmm. He had to build his web shooter, which I was like, yay.
Yeah.
Because I like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans because they were the first ones we got, and I love Spider-Man. He's one of my favorite characters.
But now you don't even
they're
have
well done Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
But now you don't.
For the time.
Yeah.
You don't have to pick and choose anymore because they're all great because it's like I said, it's a multiverse and they all can be slightly different. So it makes sense for Toby's Spider-Man to not have the web, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not have the web slinger because it's the multiverse, and why the fuck wouldn't there be a Spider-Man that can actually shoot, webs out of his arms? I think Spider-Man 2099, that's how he used his webs, was like it came from his body. I don't think
look at Venom. His came out of the top of his hand, which the symbiote reproduced what Peter was doing with his mechanical web shooters.
Right. Because Carnage doesn't do that.
He's more like blades and like shoots.
Well, he does that. But if he's using his symbiote to travel, like they can.
He just kind of does it like a whip or a
it's like
tentacle
coming out of his.
I'm trying to think how he swings through the city if
he's not doing it spider style.
No, he's kind of got his own.
Yeah,
and it really depends on which artist too.
Well, if you look back at Maximum
classic,
Carnage,
yeah. I mean, that's where you gotta start.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Spider-Man arcs there.
I think that's.
Did you ever read? So there's Absolute and then Maximum. Wait,
Absolute was the newest one.
So Absolute, did you read the Absolute Carnage?
Oh yeah, I did read some of those. Yes,
so that's prior to the King in Black.
Okay.
So I think that's a really solid run too.
Does that lead into the King in Black?
It's the foundation, and then it kind of ties into it. There's a lot of it written by Donny Cates, which I think is kind of, I followed that story arc because I just like his style.
He's good.
And how he tells a story and makes things epic. And I believe it's one of the Osborns. I believe it's Norman Osborn is the Carnage. And then you've got other people, and they're trying to resurrect and kind of bring up the King in Black.
Okay.
And
Norman Osborn is Carnage?
One of the Osborns. And it's kind of... So it's kind of weird how it gets there. I think really the name doesn't matter. The character is its own character. I think a lot of the ways Donny Cates kind of does that. Yeah. Like Cosmic Ghost Rider is a perfect example. That's Frank Castle as a Ghost Rider at the end of time.
Which I thought was a great run.
But and this is, I just read him from and it might be a version of was Frank Castle Cosmic in your?
The one that I read, because I think I read like the issue 1 or 2 of it, and Frank Castle bestowed the powers of the Ghost Rider, and
so the one that was Thanos Wins is what I was reading, I believe, and he wasn't the same character. So this is Kate. I mean, he was just very whimsical and didn't care because there was nobody left to punish, there was nobody left to kill, so he's kind of was crazy and was more like a Joker without a Batman.
So almost like a Lobo.
As the Ghost Rider he was?
Yeah. I didn't care for that.
So why did he get the powers? Just because
he was Thanos, and that was the last living thing, and
Thanos gave him the powers?
Yeah. So it was from Thanos Wins.
With the gauntlet?
Yeah, so he won and kills everybody, and the only people left is the Cosmic Ghost Rider, and he's still in love with death personified.
Yeah.
Well, that's always been a thing for Thanos in the comics is That was his driving force.
Yeah.
He was the Mad Titan.
To gather the stones in the comics. Like, that was his driving force, was to impress Death. And what better way to impress Death than to give her half of the life in the universe? Little did you know when he did that, that would actually even horrify her.
Well,
You know what I mean? Because it's not natural. She's not... Like, he thought he would win Death's heart by doing that, but really, Death only ended up being his prisoner, and she never
Same
cared
thing.
for him.
Kang did the same thing, similar thing to his love in the comics, is he tried to kill the Avengers to prove his love to, then her name is eluding me at the moment. She's in
Yeah,
Loki.
I remember.
yeah, I
But
remember.
Ravenoff, anyways. But that backfired on him too.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like they try to make this grand gesture. When you just really look at it, like from a normal person's point of view, is like that dude really doesn't know what love is. So he thinks he loves Death, but he doesn't even realize that Death doesn't have that emotion. Like, so she will never love you. She'll never love anyone.
That's because love is a secondhand emotion.
Yeah, it's a human emotion. It's a human emotion, and not one that somebody like Death is going to be concerned with. I don't even think she talks to him.
No, I don't think she says a word.
No, I think she despises him.
Well, she definitely did during the Gauntlet. She
Yeah.
wasn't a fan of what he was doing. But it was more than just destroying half the life in the universe. That was just one thing that he did. Then he took out all the entities, like basically froze beings like Eternity and the Celestials and like all the beings that make the universe work. He started to take them all out too, so he was the only god.
Well, and that's when we can thank Adam Warlock for saving the majority of everybody.
I think he sucks.
Well, he might, but if it wouldn't have been for Adam
He
Warlock,
didn't do anything.
he put everybody in the Soul Gym.
He didn't do anything. He just stood there, waited for everybody to, and waited for his chance to snatch the gauntlet. He literally did nothing.
Except for when he put everybody inside the Soul Stone during the snap.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like Adam Warlock. I thought he was a fuckface during that. And, I mean, I guess he held the Silver Surfer back for something, too. I can't remember what. Like, he made him hang out with him. But really...
There's a new Silver Surfer comic out that's pretty legit too.
There was something where they were talking about somebody convinced Thanos that he didn't actually want to win at one point. I forget who it is, but like he's like getting ready to go on another one of his like grand schemes, and they're like you don't really want to win. It's like, look how many times you have amassed near omnipotence. And basically in the comics, when he, by the end, when, what's her fucking name? Gamora's sister.
Nebula?
Nebula. She's the one who snatches the gauntlet.
Oh, I started following her on TikTok.
Off of-
the actress?
Hold,
It's okay.
she snatches the gauntlet off of Thanos' arm when he transcends the use of his body. So eventually he becomes like omnipotent and he is everywhere, all like, you know what I mean? And forgets to guard his body. Like, he's so drunk with power that he forgets to even care about his body because he's so focused on everything else. And that's when she just is like, huh, thanks. Like, takes the gauntlet, and then she's fucking crazy now because he's tortured her this whole time with the gauntlet. So she's even more nuts than she was before all the shit. And so she's even an even bigger threat than Thanos, because even if he's a fucking loony bin motherfucker, he's still strong enough for the power to not corrupt him and make him insane. Like, the power immediately drives her to, like, she's already crazy, and it drives her even further into insanity.
To more cray-cray.
To the point
cray-cray.
that Thanos has to team up with the people he was just fighting just to get the gauntlet back from her.
Well, isn't Thanos a god anyway? Because I mean, I know he was the Mad
They say
Titan for.
Titan, yeah.
I think you have different levels of gods. I think you would call him a demigod, if anything.
Or just below,
Without the gauntlet.
Because demigod is like a god that had this, like
A
if
half
God
and half,
had,
yeah.
yeah,
Like Hercules and
that's half god, half human,
Yeah.
or
And
alien, I guess.
yeah.
Thanos is exceptional even to his race. So he's a mutant.
Well, he's also
So,
the last of his race, if I'm not mistaken.
Like the mutant thing doesn't just happen on Earth. It happened to him on his planet. So he is a mutant, just a Titan, a mutant from Titan.
Okay.
So they don't look like him. Like his race, they don't look like him at all. Wasn't it the Inhumans or what was it?
I haven't read much.
No, his family. No. What was the new movie? The newer movie. It was like all the, like the gods. They were like the source of everybody. Like,
Eternals?
yeah. So the Eternals is. So the guy you see at the end of that is actually Thanos' brother.
Okay.
Like the guy at the after credits scene.
Because I know I remember reading about
those-
Thanos, in some of the Avenger comics and stuff, and during the arcs that they did put into the MCU, but I never really dug into Thanos. I just knew he was a purple Mad Titan.
No, the people there look actually just like human.
That's awesome.
And he's just like a mutated, like I think his mother wanted to kill him when he was born and shit because he was like looked all deformed.
Well, that's his backstory. That's why he's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think
Doesn't help.
yeah, he definitely had a fucked up like upbringing.
That's
And
like Oswald Cobblepot's backstory there.
yeah,
Or Norman
kind of
Bates.
yeah. They tried to kill him too. They threw him into the sewer, huh?
I
Yep.
guess Norman Bates, he killed his mother.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
was
a
it.
little different.
Or just, yeah.
And then hanging out.
Many serial killers have that
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Well, yeah, they got a fucked up childhood or whatever. Something fucked up happens to you, but sometimes not, dude. Sometimes people are just fucking crazy.
Well, and then some of them, those people, look. That's what I love about the What If series. It's like, what if Frank Castle, instead of punishing everybody like he does, instead just
He was
decided
He was.
just
It was
became
like
the
50 Shades of Grey, and he punished him like that.
no, just
It's like,
he
you've
ends up
been
being
naughty.
the criminal underworld. He takes over the criminal underworld and
Yeah,
just owns all of it and
What, becomes Kingpin or something.
yeah.
yeah. What if Frank Castle was Kingpin?
It
That's a good one.
I think it happened.
might have. I don't remember, but I mean, I've
what
thought
if
about
Frank
that.
Castle
Like, he-
was the
he usurps-
had the symbiote Venom?
Yeah,
He goes and kills Kingpin and takes over his empire instead.
Yeah, that'd be badass.
That'd be cool.
that would be interesting.
And he's Kingpin.
That'd be worth like a 5-off series.
Dude, that'd be. Did we just fucking strike? Like, bro, hit us up, Marvel. Like, we are full
We got
of
you,
these.
Marvel.
We are full of these. Somebody's thought of that. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, probably.
Le Google.
What if? There's tons you could do with What If.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait for the next season of that shit.
Well, and I remember reading the What If comic line when they first came out, and so when they decided to make it the little cartoon miniseries or series that they did, I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, Chelsea has a bunch of them, I guess.
I've got a few.
She has
too.
one where the Punisher. What is it?
So I just did What If Punisher, and What If Punisher killed Spider-Man, killed Daredevil.
I think I have the Daredevil one.
I can't type. Those are just kind of like what you get when you first.
She told me when I bought MC Virus one, sent it to him. It was what if the Silver Surfer had the Infinity Gauntlet?
I remember that one.
Yeah, I didn't actually read it. I probably should have.
Yeah, no, they had some really.
What are you
good
looking up?
ones.
Just see what different Punisher Or what if Peter Parker became the Punisher?
I have a series
That would be
where
interesting.
I have a Punisher series where he has the War Machine armor.
Oh yeah, I remember that line.
That shit's so cool. And he does exactly what you would think he would with it.
Kicks ass and takes names.
It's so dope. And by the end, the armor's so fucked up that, and there's like these 4 other dudes, right? And like they're all in armor, and like they fuck up each other's armor, and it comes down to the point where he's like, he gets out of his armor, and they got to get out of theirs, and they're like, they're all laughing and shit, and like, and he's like, "What are you laughing for?" He's like, "You had the armor to protect you before. Now you're stuck with me outside of it." And he just fucks them all, like 4 dudes up. He's like, "Now you're in trouble." He's like, "I didn't really know how to use that shit." He's like, now you don't have your armor. Now you're super fucked, or something like. It was like it was like cold as fuck.
That's pretty cool.
He's like, "Oh, what's so funny?" Or like, "Why are you laughing?" He's like, "You're really fucked, and you don't even see it." It's a dope series. Like, I think he goes up again. I don't remember. It's cool as fuck though. I need to break it out. Maybe I'll let you borrow it and read it. Good shit.
Yeah.
But I am definitely excited for all the new superhero movies and stuff coming out this summer.
So what are you looking forward to the most?
I'm super excited to see Ant-Man because I've just rewatched all the others, and with what they've done with the multiverse, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm really excited to see Deadpool 3 just to see Hugh Jackman reprise his role as Wolverine because he's done an amazing job for the last 20 years.
Hopefully we get Josh Brolin in that too. I want Cable again.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
He should be. I think he should be. Because didn't Deadpool take his fucking little
Gizmo? Yeah.
his time travel device? So
He's looking for him. So
yeah, he probably chase him down. Hopefully,
Ooh,
if they care about that direct line of continuity in a Daredevil or
Deadpool.
and if that happens, we might see Forge because if I remember right, Forge helped Cable travel through time a lot as well. Didn't he?
I don't know. Maybe, yeah, he might have.
he's part of
I know that
right?
Forge.
Yeah.
Forge was cool because I loved his powers, man.
Because he could make anything, right? That was
Well,
his
not
spot.
only that, but he could like sync up to any technology, so there was no like computer or whatever that he couldn't hack, and he was hyper familiar with any weapon. So like his cyborg, I don't know exact, like it was partly powers, but also like augmentation too, right? Like so he was kind of a cyborg.
Well, and I don't remember exactly what his full mutation power was, but what I do recall was that he was from the same timeline as Cable was.
Forge.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, I turned right to him.
that won't happen again.
That's fucking crazy.
Look at there.
Okay. Mutant ability gives superhuman talent for inventing mechanical devices. Like you said, while even the greatest inventors must work out the principles and designs of their inventions, the ideas for Forge's inventions spring fully formed from his mutant mind. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I thought he had more. There was more to that, though.
Maybe they evolved it a little bit with different.
It sounds like it's a little different than I remember because I thought it had. Well, I mean, I guess being able to like interface and like fuck with technology. I mean, that would be a side effect of that power too, right? It's like you would just be really good with any technology if you could invent anything. Like he doesn't. It's so basically what they're saying is he doesn't have to study or have
Whatever
any.
He's a writer's cheat Joker wild card.
Right, it's like using an AI to write a fucking blog for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tank. I
Scared the dog.
I scared the poop. But like, so you're like, yeah, I'm gonna write an article,
Click.
and then it writes it for you, and you're like, look at this article I wrote. And everybody's like, yeah, but did you write it though?
I mean, to be able to think of anything and have any invention and be able to just create it instantly without it having any problems is kind of a cool power.
Yeah.
It'd save Tony a lot of time.
Well, he's a fucking. I mean, what's the difference between that and being a genius, though?
A genius had to
Because I imagine a lot of those.
study. Even a genius has to study his
Okay.
craft to get there.
Fair enough, but maybe he has a better comprehension of shit.
Well, look how many suits that he had to make. He had to go from the Mark I to the Mark II to the Mark III.
Yeah.
He had to upgrade them over time as he was learning about his suit.
So I wonder if that'd be a team up. Forge and Iron Man make a suit of armor. Or what? Oh, that's a what if. What if Forge was Iron Man?
Now that would be cool.
Yeah.
Huh? That's a good one.
The problem is not enough people know who Forge is.
Yeah.
As far as like
That's
the
true.
movie place. Not that it isn't a good idea,
Right.
but yeah, there's unlimited possibilities.
Oh yeah, with the amount of characters that are in the DCU
Well, okay.
and the MCU, you can do anything.
Okay, here's the thing. It's like to get up to the Avengers, right? We had to see these kind of like in the first phases, we saw a bunch of origin films and then like some sequel stuff. But you saw each character that was in the Avengers in their own film for the most part. You know, the original team all had their own movies except for Black Widow and Hawkeye. Leading into like the X-Men, do you think it would be smarter to give each one of those characters that wouldn't work.
That would be a lot.
You couldn't do the same thing. You couldn't do the same thing. But so I'm just wondering because it seems like team movies fail a lot when you don't.
I think because you don't get enough character development, or you have to try to get too much.
That's why those solo films are so great, is because you get a chance to get emotionally attached or whatever.
And I think what we're seeing now is like Doctor Strange multiverse. Have you seen Multiverse?
Yes.
Okay, so just make sure you didn't spoil it. But it was really more about America Chavez.
Yeah.
It should have been called America Chavez with Doctor Strange. But I think this is how we're getting introduced to these newer characters. So when they do kind of team up, isn't the Inhumans or what does Sean think they're starting to assemble all the pieces to?
The Young Avengers.
Young Avengers.
Oh yeah, I heard that they were kind of looking towards it because you got the young Hawkeye and they've introduced
his
a few
daughter,
others,
and then you have Iron Lad, and then you have, like you said, America Chavez. You have Miss Marvel.
they just
And then
introduced
if-
Ironheart, and I believe
Ironheart. Yeah,
I
true.
believe she's a member of it.
And then with Kang, you have the Kang one that was
Iron Lad.
that was
I was just saying.
Iron Lad.
And then you have Cassie Lang.
Mm-hmm.
So you have her.
What does she become as a superhero name? Does she have a
She's
super?
just Ant.
I think she just goes by Ant-Man.
She's just Ant person. I don't know. Fuck. What is her name?
honestly don't remember.
Little Miss Ant.
Little Miss Attitude. That
Little
fucking
bit.
attitude on her in that movie. I wanted to fucking.
It's just like Scott too. I mean, it's like
Paul Rudd did such a good
No, but
job.
she was being a little bitch. Oh, wait. You haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Nope. Okay.
I've seen.
she was a bitchy teenager.
being
That
a
doesn't
little
spoil too much.
Yeah, that sounds like any normal teenager that all of a sudden gets the ability to be a superhero.
It's just a drastic turn because you see her as a sweet little kid, and then you see in Endgame when they meet up at the house and they're hugging, and you don't see any attitude. It's all hooray! But then you go from all that immediately to her like being in. Okay,
Well,
wait,
how much
I can't-
time has taken place between the time the
You don't
moment-
really know. A couple years, maybe. I think it's a couple years.
Long enough for him to write a book.
Right.
Okay, interesting.
Which is an actual book
book.
you can buy. I want to kind of read it just because
I think somebody, one of us, other group is needing to buy it
Yeah, we should.
just to see if it's a real book.
Interesting.
It's on
Well,
Amazon
it's like
right
a
now.
like if it was a full thing, that would be so.
Just what he was reading in the
Dude, just the
audiobook,
cover of it,
and then get the audiobook with him reading it.
the cover
That
of the
would be
book
kind of cool.
where he's like, or how's he like
Yeah,
posing
something
all?
like that. Yeah,
He's like, oh,
the thinker kind of
it's
pose.
all So cheese dick. Look out for the little guy.
Look out for the little guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to get over there to see that this week or this weekend, and because
It's a funny movie, dude. It's pretty good. I saw a lot of people pissing and moan about MODOK, but
I saw him in the preview, so I was.
they're like,
I
it
was
looks so
excited.
stupid. These movies are really going downhill. It looks dumb, and it's like.
But then you look at
It's
everything else in the movie.
No,
and
it's
like,
fucking supposed to look stupid.
So does MODOK actually look like MODOK?
No, well, not
momentarily for
okay. No, not necessarily. No, but they make him look like MODOK when he has his mask on.
Okay.
When he takes it off, then he's
he's a punchline.
yeah, it should be.
Interesting.
He's funny.
I didn't mind it.
I mean,
thought it
I
was
always thought the character of MODOK was an interesting character.
Well, and it's supposed to be, I mean, like people are like, oh, we want a serious MODOK. And you're like, that's kind of an oxymoron.
yeah.
Like, he's not meant to be taken seriously. And I don't think he ever was. Like, maybe early in the, like when he first was created, maybe they were like, but look at him.
Yeah.
Like, he looks ridiculous even in the comics. He's a
Big
head.
head, little arms.
He's a head with fucking arms.
that floats around on things.
Like, so you make
Yells
his
angrily at everything.
So you make his face look serious, and then you're supposed to take him seriously. And I think it's better just to lean into the ridiculousness of it and make it a punchline, like you were saying, because how are you going to make that serious? Like, he looks like Humpty Dumpty, and you're going to make him a badass. You know what I mean? So it's better just to lean in and make it comedy.
I always thought the original MODOK looked like somebody was trying to draw Krang from the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And totally
Forgot
botched
the
it.
body.
Yeah.
It's like, oh well, budget cut.
Well, it's like-
Sorry, no
like-
top, no bottom. You got the. You
It's
got
like a little kid when they first start drawing people. They'll draw like a fucking egg person and then just draw the arms and legs out of the, oval. It's like my little sister did that when we were kids. And then my son did it too forever. He would just, like a person is just a head with arms coming out of it and then like stick legs.
Almost trying to draw like drawing a snowman just without the three bubbles. You had a head and a body and then stick figure arms and legs.
It's like if you were trying to make a character like MODOK be taken seriously, you wouldn't draw him like that in the first place.
You would kind of lean more towards like the leader.
But I'm not saying I hate his design. I think it's actually a really great idea. I think he's a cool idea. You just don't make him the art like the big bad guy of anything because
Yeah, he's more of a comic relief bag.
it's like you feel like if you were a superhero, you'd see him and just start laughing. Be like, really? This is what we're doing?
He's the level 1 boss in the video game, and you got to get up
He
to
totally
level
is,
5
too.
up here.
He totally is too. He's like you would fight him on the first level if it was an arcade game for sure. He
maybe
would
level
never,
3.
It'd never be like
That's pushing it.
Yeah, it is. That is.
he'd never be the big bad guy in the game for no way.
Or maybe like the mid-level repeating boss.
Oh yeah,
And-
you almost beat him on the first level, and then he disappears and he comes back like 3 or 4 levels later.
With different weapons that
Oh
still
yeah, he'd
fails.
be upgraded a little bit. Yeah, for sure. He'd have different attack patterns, and it's a little more nuts.
Yeah.
Get some little firecrackers coming at you.
And actually, the way that they do him and the way they work it into the story is really genius because then it goes back to like older Ant-Man movies. So it fits into the Ant-Man storyline really, really well.
Good.
And it
Just
makes
not the comics.
and
Okay.
which I think is
right.
fine.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like it's not the same, but it fits within the MCU really, really good.
Well, and I'm looking at the MCU as a different version of a comic book.
Yeah, they shouldn't call it 616. That's where they fucked up. They should have called it because it's not 616. The 616 is the timeline we all know and love from the comics, and that we know they're not the same. So to call it 616 is not good. They should call it
But
957 or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
if the movie made it exactly like the comics, it would be fucking boring.
It'd be like the Incredible
No,
Hulk.
I'm not saying it should be.
And I
I'm
think
just saying calling the MCU 616, they shouldn't have did that because it's
it
not.
was fanfare. I don't. It's
That just tells you it's the main timeline.
Yeah.
that's
all.
Yeah,
It's showing that we're Earth Prime.
we're
1.
in our fictional world, not a fictional world of a fictional world.
Yeah.
Right.
We're finally getting our comic books on the big screen, and yeah, I'm okay with these directors taking some of the liberties that they've taken.
Well, and if you pay attention, I mean, a lot of the stuff you're seeing is from comics. They're pulling a lot of inspiration from
various-
things.
Well, and like James Gunn, he really dives into his research and looks to make sure he's got as much of it as he can and still take his liberties.
Like, who the fuck ever heard of Polka Dot Man before?
Or Weasel.
Or yeah.
I'm telling you, Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, all that shit is just so amazing.
I want to see James Gunn do Lobo.
That
would be good.
and
He could, of somebody that I would trust with that,
and do a series, a Lobo series,
or just
or just a movie.
even a movie alone, that would, yeah. Because then you could also bring back what's his name to play Superman.
It's a shame that Lobo's not in the like a Marvel character, because then he could totally be in a Guardians movie. You know,
yeah.
he would fit fucking right in.
Yeah.
But I guess that makes sense. Then he could really do well with a Lobo movie, because the universe that he's, it's the same kind of, he's traveling around like the Guardians do and going to these so it would be
Just a bounty hunter is all he is.
it would be like another day at the office for him to make that movie.
Which I think he'd
And
make
then
a
you have
phenomenal one.
who do you have play Mojo or Mojo
Lobo.
Lobo?
They're throwing around Jason Momoa.
Oh my God! Get the fuck off his dick!
I kind of agree with that statement.
I get it aesthetically. I see it, but
Just because he's a big dude.
and he does look a lot like.
I just don't think he's got the chops to be Lobo.
Yeah, it'd just be Jason Momoa as like you.
It'd be Aquaman for.
Yeah, that's
know,
I think we need a no name that's
Yeah.
a phenomenal talent.
yeah, somebody that's a really good
And
actor.
complete, and got to be totally arrogant too.
Yeah, because Lobo's very arrogant.
to the extreme. That is almost his superpower.
Yeah, that and being able to regenerate.
Yeah, the whole kind of Wolverine thing, which was
Dude,
the
there
blatant
was
steal from.
It was.
During the Marvel DC crossover in '96. They had Lobo and Wolverine fight like in a couple panels. They're like fighting in this bar out in space, and like it's like they're watching, so it's like you're watching from the other bar patrons' point of view, and they're watching somebody like actually throw down with Lobo, and they're like, whoa, what the fuck? They're like, holy shit. And then like they go over the bar, him and Lobo, and then Wolverine, you see his hand come up and he grabs a cigar out of the ashtray and stands up and takes a big old drag, and I think he asked for a fucking beer or something, and they're like, oh, Wolverine, like these aliens. Like they're just blown away that somebody actually kicked Lobo's ass.
Well, I mean,
It's
Lobo
like-
is pretty
it was-
tough.
It's like actually the perfect fight for them to have a bar scrap. Like what a genius way, like place to have their little tussle in that. Like perfect.
And I think if they had continued after that, both him and Lobo would have just sat there and drank beers together.
Probably, yeah, we're woken up and
Yeah,
I
Been
think
like, whoa,
I
somebody
think
could
where
kick my ass.
they were kind of making it seem like Wolverine killed Lobo. Like
well, his
Like, you
daughter
don't-
killed
you
him.
don't see
and
the end of
he
the fight.
Came back and
5 or 6. I think Kal-El's killed him a couple of times.
yeah.
But I mean, the moment he bleeds and his blood hits the ground, he's got a duplicate of himself. So
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. But he lost the fight either way. He lost the fight, but you don't see how he lost necessarily. They both tumble over the bar, and then a second later, Wolverine's standing up and smoking, the stogie, and everybody's like, "Wow," because these are people that probably, they're hanging out at their favorite bar, and that asshole comes in, and they're like, "Oh,
So this guy,
him again, dude." You're like, "Fuck, man."
I just replaced those windows.
But nobody wants to say shit to the guy because you know what I mean. But they're like, and then somebody actually kicks his ass. You're like, wow,
he drinks for free
forever.
forever.
yeah. Imagine being somebody like Logan though. You wouldn't be able to get drunk.
I
Like,
mean,
he can drink, but he can't get drunk.
true, but it depends on, can he control his mutant power enough to
He can't
latent that
control.
ability to be able to get drunk? And then,
No, he can't. He can't control his healing factor, and that's what keeps him from getting drunk. He can't be poisoned or any of that. So that's why he can smoke and have no ill effects. Is like all the negative effects. So he's like the only guy ever that should probably smoke, and other than like Deadpool or anybody who can heal like that.
yeah.
But,
Which is probably why in the comics they were some of the few that did smoke.
well, they definitely made it a point in the comics when they were like he would always have that big, cigar, and I think they mentioned it quite often that
But now it's not PC to smoke, so he's
it's
Yeah.
like I can do this because I heal like instantly, nothing like it all goes away as soon as I inhale it. Like
there was a comic where he was like, "You're not supposed to smoke." It's like it's not a cigar. It's just like something.
Yeah,
it's a blunt.
I think that was
motherfucker.
during the Just Say No campaign, wasn't it?
No, this is like one of the modern comics.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well,
He's smoking-
X-Men has been a train wreck in my opinion as far as the most recent comics.
Yeah,
Some of the
since-
spin-offs, the last
since they
good
left
X-Men since Krakoa, but
dude, that
the many
planet-size
lives
X-Men-
of Mora, House of X was an excellently written. That was the last thing that I read that I
the
liked.
planet-sized X-Men when they terraform Mars, though. I don't give a shit. That's amazing. Like they use all the Omega level mutants from the X-Men and Magneto, and I think some of the they all use their Storm restarts the weather patterns on Mars, and
Yeah, I think
Iceman freezes the entire surface, and Magneto smashes an iron asteroid into the planet to restart the core, and they do all this crazy, dope ass shit with their power to terraform a planet.
and wasn't that part of the Hellfire
Yeah.
Gala run?
Well, no, that was.
There's been many.
I think the Hellfire
galas.
Gala was after.
Okay. Because I do know that they did have a planet-sized X-Men in that run.
Well, that was the planet-sized X-Men. That one was 2 years ago. I want to say
I think so.
it's a fucking badass book. Like even if you haven't read the run, and you know nothing about what's going on, just like seeing what they do with their powers in that and using them in a different way, and in a godlike way, like they restart a planet, they terraform it without technology, and they're all at a crazy powerful at this point. Like even Iceman, we always knew, or at least from the early 2000s and whatever, that he was an Omega level mutant. But it's funny to see him in the beginning. He essentially put snow on his body. That's how the amount of control he had of it. He turned into a snowman and could throw snowballs at people. And
It reminds me of the iconic X-Men cover when there's just him, Beast, Cyclops, Marvel
twirling
Girl.
down that.
Yeah.
He's like, or no, that's one of the first panels is him, and he's swinging down like a fireman's pole. He's made out of ice, and that's like one of the first shots I think you see of the X-Men, like in the first issue.
Yeah, because I remember the cover because I always thought it was a cool cover because you got Beast, but he wasn't Beast. He was still just Hank McCoy. He didn't go through the rest of that transformation.
And he actually made that worse. Didn't he drink a serum that he thought would help him? But that's in the movies
That's
too.
the movie.
But no, it was
I don't
in.
know. I don't know.
I
I've
don't
never read the
remember.
comics.
Yeah, I don't remember
But
how
I think
got
that's
in there.
from the comics too. Is he actually advanced it more by doing the same thing? I'm pretty sure.
They're pretty good about piecemealing things from the comics in those early
Yeah.
X-Men.
Later on, he even goes even further. Like he evolves even further into a beast for a while,
I do have
and
to
he
say
looks
though,
even more animal-like.
I like Kelsey Grammer's portrayal of Beast in X-Men 3.
Me too.
I thought he did
Yeah.
a really good job on that.
Well, just his accent's dope when he's talking. It's like, oh, Charles, he's like got that fucking that badass accent. Like, you know.
It's Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the shit. He is the shit. Anyway, so where are we at on this episode?
We're about an hour and a half into. Probably about time to wrap it up.
Perfect, man. Well, thanks for coming on, man. It's been fun.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for.
And I know we didn't have like any specific thing to talk about. But
I was okay with
it was
that.
fun to like just kick it and
Yeah.
chat with you.
I can sit there and chat about all kinds of nerd stuff all the time. It's fun.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
I know people at work with it all the time.
Well, like I said earlier, don't forget to check out Dragon These Balls and the comixzone.com. Like I said, we started on Steins Gate. We finished up Dragon Ball Super. Now we're into Steins Gate, talking time travel, alternate timelines, and all that for a few episodes. For all our other episodes, follow us on YouTube. I usually say the comixzone.com, and I'm going to say that now, but please go to the YouTube channel. That's where you're going to get all the, all our main show episodes.
You get to see my cool jacket.
Yeah, and look at Bill's jacket.
It is a pretty dope
It's
jacket.
fly as
Yeah.
fuck.
I'm a little jelly right now.
A little?
Just a
You
little.
know you're super jelly. But like I said, go to the comixzone.com. We got all of our episodes there. Go to TikTok, and follow us there. Just follow us all over the place.
Just not to the bathroom.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
Yeah.
You can follow me.
There you go.